Hammer! Somebody get this guy off of me! Hammer!
Greetings and salutation to each of you across the nation, and here I am with great hesitation to talk to you about MOTU. Revelation. It is I, the Masters of the Universe, Master of Crime, Gangstor. This time chiming in with my thoughts on the second half of the ill-conceived, not well-received, nostalgia retrieved, and fan-base deceived Netflix series, Masters of the Universe, Revelation. The second half of this series dropped over last year's Roast Google holiday vacay, and what was started in part 1, namely the cutting down on mainstay male characters and forced propping up of female ones, did indeed continue into part 2. I'd give a spoiler warning at this point, but I'll fuck with it. You can't spoil raw sewage. In part 1, we were left with Skeletor finally triumphant and obtaining the powers of Grayskull and becoming Skeletor. Part 2 picks up from there and goes off the trolley pretty damn quick. If part 1 was TEELA of the TEELAVERSE, TEELAtion, then part 2 must clearly be EVELYN of the LYNAVERSE, EVELYN. This was already hinted at in a few interviews that I mentioned in a vid back in July. During these interviews, Kevin Sad Sack Smith went on to throw his producer Ted Bitch Mayday under the bus, claiming that it was all on Teddy's request and mandate that EVELYN be treated with this high level of exaltation. And that, combined with how Skeletor was completely mischaracterized, is exactly what I'm here to vent about. You see, in the continuation of Revelation, once Skeletor has achieved godhood, EVELYN then attempts to seduce him, lamenting that if they were to do the horizontal hoopajoo, whilst he remains in this overpowered state, he would literally destroy her, she being a mere mortal and all. So, to make the two-backed beast, he'd have to relinquish his power and revert to his former self. Skelly then proceeds to actually do this, thereby leaving an opening for EVELYN to take the power sword from him and use it to become a god herself. While this is indeed surprising, the story twist completely shits the bed the minute we see this. Not unlike TEELA, we now see EVELYN in full bull dyke-like aesthetic, now with her head shaved and muscular body not unlike the He-Man. This new he-vil-lynn is now Mistress of the Universe, or... Wait, Master, or Mistress, Mattress of the Universe. Sponsored by Sealy. And, I don't know, that mysterious pillow guy. At any rate, she then attempts to destroy all life in the universe due to having emotional issues surrounding her parents who tried to eat her when she was a kid. No, seriously, her parents tried to fucking eat her. How anyone can defend this garbage is beyond my capabilities and comprehension. I don't even want to recap the rest of the story because, I mean, is there even a fucking point? Just skip to the end. TEELA uses her magical mirror suit powers to talk sense into EVELYN. Everything gets resolved, and we're left with a setup for a third part, with references to both She-Ra and the new adventures of He-Man. To which I say, hell to the no! Stop while you're behind! Give this shit up already, for fuck's sake! lest I whip up your ass in the 31 flavors of easy bake oven pancake paste and serve it on the rocks and an overflooded sock, you slack-jawed fucktastic ass blasters. And you know what bothers me the most with this second part? What just straight up distilled my piss into petrol. It is how they screwed up Skeletor at his most triumphant and reduced him down into a fucking simp. Simplator, master of not a damn thing. Just a sucker idolizing mediocre pussy. Ugh. You mean to tell Skeletor finally got what he's always wanted most and decides to give it all up on the request of a piece of ass? Is you fucking kidding me with this here bullshit? Listen, I know Skeletor. I've personally worked for the boss. Ain't no damn way in hell would he do this convoluted bull crap. And in regards to Lynn, she's quite the demonic dame, but let me tell ya, what she's got, it ain't all that. Believe me, I know from personal experience. I done shanked, ganked, and spanked that skank till her every damn hole done stank. She serves as a great receptacle for my own personal brand of castaway reproductive rum, you see. Done filled her up so damn much, her hair turned white. See? Now you know the story of how that came about. Now, if it's true that a god can't ravage a mere mortal without destroying them, then guess what? Skilly would have just went right ahead and ripped Lynn in half, or finally destroyed her treacherous tail just from making such a sorry-ass request. Let's not forget two things here. Number one, the story had to actually contradict itself just to have this scene play out. EVELYN says this.
Not like this. If a mere mortal sleeps with a god, she could wake up in the afterlife. No, you must power down, lest you kill me.
As if this scene in the show didn't actually precede it.
This abattoir of a universe is teeming with the dead because men and women are born solely to die. Gods, however, we live forever. This cryptic castle requires a mistress of magic, so you are the new sorceress of Grayskull.
Skilly already shared his power with her in making her the evil equivalent of the sorceress. However, to later on just disregard that and have her claim that she's now a mere lonely mortal, just to have an excuse for Skilly to make a mistake solely for the purpose of advancing the plot? I'm sorry, peeps, but the writing here is just some old bullshit. And number two, don't forget we already have something to compare this to, as this story of a triumphant Skeletor has already happened once before. You know, it's almost as if Sad Sack over here, rather than devoting many an hour to watching several episodes of animation and reading numerous issues of comics and researching characters, instead opted to simply devote less than 2 hours to watch the 87 motion picture and just call it a day. Then pass himself off as a quote-unquote die-hard fan, as if he studied all the minute minutiae of the MOTU mythos. I mean, don't you just love it? How these insufferable Hollywood leftist types always seem to grandstand on the subject of cultural appropriation, but then go on to do that very same thing by invading and conquering, one might say colonizing, intellectual properties that have nothing to do with them. If it wasn't for double standards, these f***tards wouldn't have any standards at all. Come to think, their lack of standards pretty much explains why their writing is such shit. But back to my point. What was portrayed in MOTU Revelations, if this had happened in the 87 motion picture, would have probably went a little bit something like this.
My darling, I want you. I simply want you. I want you now. It's best not to. You know what? With those more powerful than you, you must relieve your power, or I will be destroyed. I simply want you to leave your power.
No! Get away! You will not stand between me and my power! I must possess all, and you must possess nothing.
My lord, with all due respect, I was not suggesting...
No! We are no longer equal. You are nothing to me. Farewell, evil.
Hey, Skilly. Don't worry, boss man. I just gave you back your fucking balls. No need to thank me. This one was on the house. Now either that bespoke clip just offended every damn feminist in the audience, or it moisturized them up like an upside-down fast pass through a Jiffy Lube. But considering how many damn solar cycles it took just to produce it, now would be the perfect time to mention that if you made it this far and you jive with what I got to say, consider supporting my criminal enterprise. Won't you kindly break some thumbs for me until they roll over blue from the lack of circulation? And then, while you're at it, work over that there subscription button till it's drained of all vital fluid and grade over deceased. Do that, and you're well on your way to being a made man. Now, as for Sad Sack, you can't go on to describe this new show as being so damn metal, and then pull stupid shit like portraying Skeletor as a dickless fucking simp that's cracking dry jokes with Mark Hamill's Joker voice.
An existence can use a makeover.
I mean, just look at it.
And fighting a mentally deficient He-Man. And on a side note, for fucking out loud, what is it with this shit? Shaved head, shaved head, shaved head. Girl muscle, girl muscle. Has none of you noticed a fucking pattern here?
Someone's got one hell of a fetish.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
And hey, there wouldn't be anything wrong with it, except for the fact that this isn't your own personal literotica fan wank, Netflix. This is your fucking job. It's like Kevy and Teddy accidentally sent the wrong file over to the animation studio, and they animated the duo's own girl muscle femdom fanfic instead of the actual script they were supposed to be working on. That has to be what happened here. It's the only explanation for MOTU Revelation. Like I get this whole bullshit girl power aspect of the narrative they're trying so hard to push here, but this shit never needed to be in He-Man, and it's gotten straight up fucking redonkulous at this point. Now, as for EVELYN becoming a god and taking over the universe, albeit temporarily, this might come as a shock to you, I mean, considering how much I've railroaded against this series and its female-centric narrative. But this twist might in fact be the only part of the whole animated endeavor that I actually found somewhat interesting. I'm not actually against it, mind you, not because I'm fanboying over EVELYN, and certainly not due to feminine politicking, but because the very notion of someone other than the usual suspects taking on the reins of power raises many a new question from a storytelling standpoint. It makes you wonder what would be the consequences of someone else in the MOTU mythology becoming quote-unquote master of the universe. See, now it gets the brain juice a-flowing. Like total spitballing here, but what would happen if Buzz Off or Webstore gained that title? What might that look like? I mean, that in and of itself is an interesting idea that could fuel a what-if style show showcasing alternative narratives, what people would have to do to gain the glory of Grayskull, and what they would do with it afterwards. And considering the umpteen thousand characters contained within the MOTU mythos, that show could go on for like 17 seasons. But let's get real for one damn moment. The brand is fucking damaged right now. The most vociferous out there in the Twatters hail this is the second coming of Masters, and are among the most sanctimonious sycophants out there, who are more fans of the uncreatives behind this, and not the actual source material. Meanwhile, the Revelations toys are hitting clearance shelves, while the OG line is still commanding full retail price. You don't need special optical abilities to see what's happening here. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm done with the shit. Just done. I don't care to talk about this anymore. Waste of my time. In the meantime, it's gonna take some time. Time to heal from this whole ordeal. I'm sure a proper continuation of the property can still happen. I mean, just roll your eyes over that newfangled Phantom Fighters documentary, and it had an uphill battle after it got slimed in free-bleeding politics the last time around. It gives me some hope. Maybe there's a chance MOTU can one day course correct too. Until next time.